So, if you are like me, you are now in your 60s or maybe even your 70s. Your hair has fallen out, gone gray, or again, like me, maybe it's turned completely white. Right? Your beach bod is now a grandpa bod, and you still love getting on your big American V twin or your 1200cc adventure bike like I do, but it requires pre and post dosing with ibuprofen. The world has changed. Looking at the news and social media, it seems that there are more distractions and dangers to be found on the road than ever before. So how do you know when it is time to hang up the helmet and maybe switch to something easier and more comfortable, like an RV? Let me say right up front that I have no plans to stop riding. For me, jumping on my motorcycle and traveling around this amazing country and continent has been a dream of mine since I was very young. I plan on continuing for as long as I can do it safely. This YouTube channel has always been and continues to be dedicated to inspiring others to get out there and live their dreams. However, the decision to climb on your bike requires that you accept the risks associated with motorcycle travel, and that decision is a very personal one that only you can make for yourself. So all of this is a topic that came up in our monthly Travelers Club meeting. Now, if you're not aware, I have a group of members who get together with me once a month and we talk about travel, motorcycle, and topics just about life, right? It's mostly old guys like me, right? And so we, on occasion, talk about things like this, and that is knowing when it might be time to give up riding and go out and get that RV. Some of us are forced into pondering this question due to accident or injury, and others start to think about the impact our life choices have on those we love. Most of us have chosen to share our lives with a significant other, and it is only fair that we take into consideration their feelings, dreams, and goals as well as our own. Now, I am very fortunate that my wife Kathy supports me in pursuing my passions, as I do with hers. We encourage each other to live the life that we want, at least within reason. We both understand that we have to temper our desires by taking into consideration the desires of the other. Now, it's also good to remember that even though we may be the one who gets injured in an accident, right, our spouses go through that with us. Case in point, back when Kathy had her accident in 2017, in some ways it was harder on me than it was on her. Yes, she was the one with 27 broken bones, but I was the one who was taking care of her, doing the things for her that needed to be done, and I was the one that got to see the accident and has to live with that memory now for the rest of my life. I mean, literally for me, now more than 6 years past that horrible day, not a week goes by when I don't think about that accident and literally see it in my mind. And I have learned that I need to experience that, but then push it out of my mind. Now, I'm not saying that you should give up your passion because of fear or things that might happen. And I have spoken in the past about how accepting the risks and vulnerability involved with motorcycling is part of the attraction. I believe this acceptance is part of what makes it so freeing and exciting. But along with taking on the mantle of risk, there needs to be an equal measure of responsibility. This is a concept I have spoken about many times, and I will most likely keep hammering it home. We are responsible for our lives and for our personal safety, not the other guy. This is a tough concept for many, as I get repeated comments on my videos that go something like, "What about all the cars that cause the accidents?" Well, what about them? Me blaming others and balling up my fist is not going to change anyone's behavior. People pull out in front of me on my bike and they do it when I'm driving my truck. My option is to be ready when these things happen and do everything I can to avoid the incident. So far, I've been successful, but that could change tomorrow. As motorcyclists, we have to come to grip with the fact that every moment of inattentiveness can lead to disaster. We have to consistently be ready to act, planning several moves ahead, and anticipating the actions of others. Not always easy, especially as we get older. So when do you know it's time to give up? Well, for sure, when you are no longer physically or mentally able to handle the demands of riding. If you can no longer do it safely, then it is time to get that RV. But maybe there are steps you can take to keep riding well into your senior years. Now, again, these things are entirely personal and should be based on your situation. What is your physical ability? How is your mental status? Do you have the support of your spouse, or are you concerned with their safety while you're out riding together? All of these things need to be taken into consideration when deciding how you are going to move forward. Is it time for a smaller bike or maybe a trike? We've discussed these things in other videos. Is it time to load the bike on a trailer and pull it to great destinations rather than riding from home? Is it time to ride solo, or maybe you feel safer taking trips with friends? There are no right or wrong answers, and it certainly does not matter what social media trolls or what whacked out YouTubers think. It is your choice, and the only answer is what is right for you. As I mentioned at the beginning of this little diatribe, this channel is about encouraging you to get out and live your dreams. But those must be your dreams, not mine. You do not have to do things the same way that I do. As my fellow Travelers Club members reminded me, as you get older, you need to find the balance between adventure and safety, and the decision is not always easy. After Kathy's accident, it took 3 years of healing and riding with me before she finally made the decision not to ride her own bike again. Part of the reason was due to the extent of her injuries, 27 fractures, but the major reason was that she did not want to put me through the trauma of another potential crash. Now, I would have supported her in whatever decision she made, as I know getting her license and learning to ride meant a lot to her. But I have to admit that I was a bit relieved when she finally made her choice. The bottom line here is that you have to make your own choice. It has to be yours. Make the changes necessary to keep yourself safe and keep your passengers safe, and be honest with yourself and make the choices that are right for you. So let me leave you with this. If you're an old guy and you are returning to riding at 40, 50, 60 years of age, or if you're somebody who has 40 or 50 years experience in riding, if you have never gone out and sought advanced training on your motorcycle, I strongly suggest that you do so. Riding a motorcycle isn't as easy as driving a car, right? It takes skill, it takes practice, right, to do it right, to do it safely. So whether it's an MSF course, advanced training course that they put on, right, or it's a on-street training, or if you find a non-sport bike track day that you can go to, all of those are fantastic ways to go out, right, and learn how to really handle your motorcycle and practice what you're doing. How many practice emergency braking or swerving? Not many of us, right? And we all should. All right, guys, ride safe.